I have been drawing across the site of the National War Museum, my intention being to visually combine the ongoing manufacturing process of the working mill, Melin Teifi, with the historic textile collection. I have thought a lot about moving through the site as if on a journey, so that the drawings are not only of static objects, but describe particular parts of the museum which fascinate me. Gradually, the concept of installing my work as a contemporary trail for the public, with activities attached to each piece, developed, and I hope this will encourage visitors to view the collection differently and to sometimes to be able to respond creatively. I've spent a lot of my life visiting ethnographic museums and drawing from their collections. Much of this work has been done in Poland, Czechoslovakia and Hungary. I was born and grew up in Wales, but developed my interest in textiles when I left Wales and travelled to Eastern Europe. Up to this point, my work has heavily referenced other cultures, and I felt I could not make this piece without using my past as a starting point. If you look at the star in the centre and radiate around that, you will see a glass, a pomegranate, a bird, a basket, some implements, boots and shoes, trees in the landscape. This is the past, but it is where I began stitching, slowly adding the lines of Welsh blankets and corners of Welsh quilts into the composition. As I drew more and more in this museum and began sorting and printing the imagery, I realised that it was becoming a highly complex piece. So as you walk around this museum, you will see sections of the journey quilt, giving you the opportunity of finding what I have drawn in that space. This is a drawing of a bedgown, in Welsh betgun, part of the Welsh national costume held in the handling collection of this museum. I often use the empty garment form when I want to tell a visual story. Whilst working here and researching textiles, I came across the story of Penelope, written by Homer in the Odyssey. Here is part of the story. Penelope was weaving a funeral shroud for her father-in-law Laertes, while her husband Odysseus was away at war. He was away for so long, many suitors would come to her house wishing to marry her. She put them off by saying that she could not marry anyone until the weaving was finished. She wove by day and deliberately unpicked the weaving at night. In this piece, the warp threads, horizontal, are intact, but the weft threads, vertical, stop and start. I hope they look unpicked to you, and therefore unfinished. However, the bedgown is raising up out of the loom, as if it has just been woven, dancing, as you may do wearing national costume. When drawing in a museum and looking intently, I am always aware of people around me. Glimpses of figures and clothing moving, and then my eyes revert back onto the drawing again. By combining my drawings of striped blankets with national costume, I have created a stitched and collaged version of this experience. The wire drawing was largely made in this room, and I hope the outline draws attention to the beauty and simplicity of these objects. My first drawings in this museum were of structures describing the composition of woven textiles as I saw them, a multitude of lines, more austere than anything I have ever drawn before. Gradually, the idea came to break up the geometric grids by overlaying drawings of pertinent objects, such as the iron, lampshade, a garment. This piece made in mild steel wire is a series of welded drawings which, when presented together, form a structure not unlike the patchwork flannel blanket in the textile gallery. Working in this museum has completely changed my method of using drawing in my work. Confronted by cloth everywhere, I felt compelled to print my drawings onto wool, the very antithesis of weaving. Aprons feature strongly in my work. I have made many in metal, so it seemed a good idea to do the same in wool. During the time I was working on this piece, I was sent the following by a friend of mine. It is a poem by Arshil Gorky, entitled My Mother Told Me Many Stories. My mother told me many stories while I pressed my face into her long apron with my eyes closed. Her stories and the embroidery on her apron got confused in my mind with my eyes closed. All my life her stories and her embroidery keep unravelling pictures in my memory.